Hello, everyone. If I can get your attention, I just want to first off say thank you. Thank you, Brad. First of all, what a great ceremony. Really appreciate that. So, Carol, where are you? Is Carol in the house? So, Carol is the owner, her and Randy, and they've just said, Carol, come on in. Come on in, Carol. So we were customer number 2, wedding number 5. Unbelievable. You have just fabulous host. You and your family really appreciate it. So Donna's running the show. You and your staff do such a great job. We have to do this again in October. What do you think? What do you think? So a couple other thank yous I want to make. So Nikki. Where is it? Nikki. So you've been so patient. You know how we are. We're very anal, the Brashes. We have lists. We have such detail, and you've gone along with us and just made this such a beautiful event. So really appreciate that. So John, where is John? John. So you have really made it, very special for us. Given us a home in Kansas City. We feel like we know half of the town now. We had a little venue in Kansas City, so thank you for sharing your family with us. So really appreciate that. So, I also want to thank all of those from Texas for joining us. Those that had to fly through airports, other states, you had to go through an airport. People had to think twice. Do I come? Do I not come? So really appreciate that. Make this a special event. As you can tell, we've been here all week. Well, all weekend. It seems like a week. All weekend. And so this group is really a fun group. And so along with the Royal Dukes, we are going to have a really fun time tonight. So, but before I pass it to Brad, I just want to say, Reggie, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Every detail, the stemware, the plates, everything, the chairs, the tablecloths, every single detail was because of you. So I'm so fortunate. I love you. So thank you very much. So Brad, I will pass it over to you for the blessing.
All right. Well, I'm reminded that Jesus' first miracle was at a wedding feast like this. And so I can't promise if the alcohol runs out that it's going to get better at the end of the night. But let's pray one more time together as we're getting ready to share this meal. Father, we thank you again for this celebration. And God, we know that you are no stranger to celebrating unions of two people. And God, we just join that celebration, the work that you've started in Grant and Kiersten's life. And the small part that all of us have gotten to play in that, we ask that you would bless our time tonight, that we would have fun, that we would celebrate, that we'd stay safe in the evening. God, we love you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.
So we have a few words to say. So first off, Grant, I have 2 daughters, 3 sisters. Reggie has 3 sisters. And our dog, Buddy, was a girl. So Grant, what took you so long? So in all seriousness, congratulations. This day has been planned for over a year. The entire weekend, every day, every moment has been scheduled, planned, and rehearsed. So what I want to do right now is just take a moment and let's slow down. Let's look around. Look at this venue. What a beautiful venue. What beautiful people that we have here. So many of them have been part of your journey. Your parents, your sisters, your relatives, coaches, classmates, colleagues, and friends. So what I'd like to do again is say thank you all of you for your support on the journey for Grant and Kiersten. Thank you for the advice that you've given them. Thanks for the counsel. Thanks for the hugs, for the shoulders that you've let them lean on. And most of all, thanks for your love. So, Grant and Kiersten, you're both very successful. Everything you've done. So, Grant, in school, on the basketball court, you've always been a champion. You've led the Clear Springs Chargers basketball team as point guard. You led them both on the court and off the court. Your accomplishments at school as an officer of the Navy, what you've accomplished in dental school, and now getting into oral surgery school has been amazing. So, Grant, you are a competitor, and I know firsthand that even if you're up in cards when playing hearts, even if you think you're going to win, forget it, because you haven't heard the end of it. I mean, it's unbelievable, your competitiveness. So I did want to let you know, though, with Kiersten, you've met your match. Kiersten has been planning this day since she was a little girl. She has watched every episode of Say Yes to the Dress. She has watched Ace of Cakes and every other wedding show on HGTV. She's also pretty good at basketball. She can still do fingertip push-ups, and she's got a couple trick plays. Pineapple and social studies. You'll have to talk to Sarah and Sydney to get the details on those two. So, Kiersten, it's just been amazing. You have been just a wonderful daughter. So I got the opportunity to look at a lot of photographs over the last couple months, a lot of memories. You dressed as a princess, playing in your turtle, and your Roadrunner with Sarah was great. Going car camping with Dad because I was too tired of putting up the tent because you guys always had all the fun and I was doing all the work. So many great memories. And you were also a role model in school. You were there to protect others. You really were. You stood up. For those other people that couldn't defend themselves, you stood up. Very special. So you're also a competitor. And because I'm your father, I can do a little bragging. I'm only going to brag on 3 things. So number 1, when you scored that 3-point shot against Smithfield, when they had all the club team members to take cross timbers to defeat Smithfield at the buzzer, we were amazed. It was a great event. But then the one that always tears me up, sorry Jeff and Tina, is South Lake Carroll volleyball. So Emily, Tana, Charlotte, we had Shannon. Did I not say Shannon? Shannon. So Grapevine was a little school. South Lake Carroll was the perennial champion. They were supposed to win the state title. They actually were ranked 5th in the nation. It does it all the time. So the whole town was out. So Reggie and I had volleyball heads, actually volleyball hats with the face cuts out. She had her pom-poms. We had the crowd going. But the most important thing is you and the team were so determined. South Lake Carroll already had their tickets to state. They had purchased their hotels, but they had to get through Little Grapevine. But unbelievable. You battled back, and the match point, the last kill, was Kiersten's. just incredible. Like I said, what a great journey. And then about 8 years ago, a lot of your relatives were in Chicago when you and Sydney won the 16 Nationals title for beach volleyball. It's just been an amazing journey, and it's been so special for us, your mom and I. So Grant, as the father, I have very high expectations of the individual. Who is worthy enough of Kiersten? So it started out well for you because you met Kiersten on a mission trip in Nicaragua. So that's good. I like that. Check the box. We met you a few times. You had a good heart. You were Christian. You had this calm. And we said, we like this guy, but we wanted to be sure. So what should we do to make sure that you are committed? So we invited you on a trip to Chicago to visit all of our relatives in the winter. A Texas boy. So I was a little nervous when you arrived in Chicago without a winter hat and with this little lightweight Texas coat. So if anybody knows a brass trip, it's a complete itinerary. Every day is planned, every detail. Am I right? So we had you walking all over the city in the slush, in the snow, in the cold. We took trains, we saw all the relatives, and then we even, late at night, in the bitter freezing cold, we had to wait in line for Chicago pizza and oven grinder. So then we took you to Zoo Lights in Lincoln Park. Again, freezing temperatures, right off Lake Michigan, a Michigan wind, and you survived. But not only that, the snow actually started to melt, and your room, the roof of your room, started to leak. And you were calm, like, no problem, this is okay, So you really impressed us with that. And you continued to impress, and then, actually, I did want to mention, that was so impressive. Between you and I, don't tell him, I'm not sure if Danny could have done it. It's the walking, Danny. It's the walking thing. But after that trip, Reg and I knew this guy's committed. It's the real deal. And it's been so fun to watch both you and Kiersten together, the love, the caring, the tenderness. You two just really gel together. Whether you're learning how to salsa in Austin or salsa in Havana, Cuba, you got the moves and you got the grace. So, like Pastor Dan said, he had 5 things. I just have 3 things. So I know that God has brought you together. There's 3 things that I've learned, and it's taken me a long time to learn them. So number 1 is keep God as your compass. Keep God in your heart. Every decision, whatever you do. Number 1. Number 2 is practice forgiveness. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't worry about the little things. Keep forgiveness in your heart. One of the things that I've learned over the years, again, if you look at the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father, it says, as we forgive us our sins as we forgive others who trespass against us. In order to receive forgiveness, you need to give forgiveness. So practice forgiveness. And number 3 is practice support and encouragement. To each other every day, look for opportunities to support each other, your family, your friends, and your community. Those are my 3 pieces of advice. And so I'll take that glass of wine now. So to finish off this toast, I know that God has brought you together. May He be with you every day. Know that your mother and I love you very much, as do all the friends and family here. We will always be with you. Cheers.
So I didn't memorize my speech, so I have notes. For those of you that don't already know me, my name is Sydney. I'm the bride's older, much wiser, and responsible twin sister and maid of honor. Tonight you can tell us apart because Kiersten is the one wearing the white dress. For the record, just to get this out there, I've always called my sister Chris. Kierst, I just didn't like the sound of. Kiersten's just too long. I know the Tippett family calls her KB. But for the sake of you understanding the speech, just know that when I say Chris, I'm talking about my sister. Where's Chris Holloway? Is he here? I'm not talking about you, buddy. Sorry. So sorry. All right. I'd like to start off by thanking my family, Grant's family, and all of our friends that have traveled from all over to get here today. You may have just come to Fredericksburg for the wine, maybe the free meal, or possibly, and more importantly, to see our grandparents get down on the dance floor. Woo! Papa, you still gotta get out there at some point. You still got a shot, it's fine. All right. But regardless the reason, we appreciate you all being here today. I'd like to also thank my wonderful parents for planning such a wonderful evening. If you know how OCD Chris is, you can only imagine how meticulous my mother is at planning a wedding. So glad she'll be doing it twice this year. Lastly, I'd like to thank my sister, the bride, for making me wait this long to make my maid of honor speech. I've had my eye on this wine all evening. So with that being said, anyone from the bar? At the end of the speech, I'd like a glass of the Tempranillo waiting for me. All right, Chris, I can't believe this day has finally arrived. Ever since we were young, we have been dreaming of our special day. I can't look at you. And one of the only days in the entirety of our lives that all of the celebrations are focused on one of us and not both of us. As many of you already know, since we were born, we have been inseparable. We truly gave twins a new meaning by how similar we were and still are. We had our differences, like our wardrobe preferences in elementary school. I wore jeans with anything that was purple or blue. Chris wore anything with elastic. You loved the color pink, and you used to wear pink dresses sometimes, but you always managed to squeeze some elastic shorts underneath. Ooh. Hey there. Oh, perfect. Thank you. All right, sorry, I'm gonna put this down. Oh no, we're good. All right. All right, well, your elastic fashion trend was clearly creating you to be the fashion icon that you are today. And this lasted until high school, by the way, her elastic obsession. I'm just kidding. But now we understand why she enjoys leggings so much, so that makes sense. Another difference is you being extremely lucky when it came to any contest, raffle, or giveaway. There's a lot of examples, but pretty much every time you played bingo, you won. We don't know how. It could have been Grant, I'm not sure. Another difference was you having to wear braces in the 7th grade. That may have only been a good time for one of us. But you found Grant, and he's a dentist, so clearly it turned out. And now you're so devoted to working out with all your muscles and your muscly husband now. And with your 6-pack, all I can ask for is just a 6-ounce glass of wine, which, who has that? Zach does, cool. All right, apart from that, we've been as similar as two people can be. From being on the same team in volleyball since we started playing over 15 years ago, taking all the same electives in school, like keyboarding and career investigations. It's a good one. Baking together, sharing the many movie quotes that we know, and being a badass beach volleyball duo. To going to the same college for undergrad and pharmacy school. Hook 'em. Anybody? Oh man, I lost my place. And living together the entire time. Until, of course, you left me in Austin to go live in San Antonio with Grant while he started dental school and while you finished pharmacy school. But that's okay, because we ended up beginning our careers as pharmacists at the same company. Growing up, if you knew Chris, you knew her in school as a nerd. Studied constantly to make amazing grades, turning in assignments early, doing all of the extra credit, even if that meant going from a 98 in the class to a 98.5. And if you were part of a group project with her, you were in luck, because she most likely did the entire thing herself. Because it had to be perfect. Nothing stood in the way of Chris being the best student she could be, not even boys. During high school, her dating life consisted of a guy asking her to go out with him. And they would go on a date on a weekend she didn't have a volleyball tournament, which was very rare. And then at school, they would exchange looks in the hallway, maybe chat a bit, and then text occasionally whenever Chris was not studying, which, again, was very rare. I honestly don't know how you kept these guys around, because you were, quite honestly, always doing something. But oh no, this attitude continued through college. You can't just turn this type of commitment and focus off once high school ends. She studied, went to office hours, never skipped a class, the list goes on. Point is, if Chris planned on studying all weekend for an exam on Monday, she very rarely decided to go to a fraternity day party on Saturday, followed by a fraternity formal on Saturday evening. And I say rarely because I can think of two distinct occasions when she opted for being social over studying. First was in the fall of our second year of college, when instead of studying for her 3 finals, Chris decides to go to 3 different formals. One on Friday, one on Saturday, the other one on Monday. Turns out she still aced her finals, so I don't know why she's studying. Second was her agreeing to hang out with you, Grant. I've never seen her so excited to go to Double Dave's on Sundays. Prime study days for her. And going to your place to bake cookies for you and Zach. And going on dates during the week on school nights. This is huge for her and definitely something I never saw coming. I figured either something was off in her brain or that she really liked you. Or the pizza rolls at Double Dave's. Either or, that's when I started realizing you were something special. It wasn't long before Chris decided to leave me in Austin, pick up everything, and move to San Antonio to finish her last 2 years of pharmacy school and to follow you while you were in dental school. And look at you now. You're going to do it again, but this time you're picking up everything and moving to Dallas. You're getting a new job so that you can be with Grant while he's in his oral surgery residency. I thought an hour and a half away when you were in San Antonio was bad, but now you'll be a good 3 hours away. I can't call you every day while we're at work to see how you're doing or to ask you a random question. So we'll definitely need to FaceTime and text more frequently. Regardless how much farther apart we will be physically, I'm so happy and excited for you both and the new chapter you're beginning together. Plus, we'll still have our twin telepathy everyone always asks us about. Chris, there hasn't been 1 week when you've been in San Antonio and I've been in Austin that we haven't talked or texted each other. Our special bond relationship has truly survived the challenges of being in San Antonio, so you getting married and moving to Dallas shouldn't separate us either. You've been there for me as long as I can remember. You stood up for me when someone was being mean in grade school. You were a shoulder to cry on, a voice of reason when I needed some positive influence. And you were always up for finding the best bakery or restaurant we could study at. You've been my greatest supporter, motivator, and friend, and that will never change. You've taught me the importance of sticking together, studying even though I didn't want to, and what it looks like to be the most incredible, loving, smart, generous sister anyone will only be lucky to have. Many friendships over the years have come and gone, friends that let me down and friends that didn't support me when I really needed it. But through all those friendships, I had you right by my side. You're my best friend. All right, Grant and Kiersten met while on a mission trip in Nicaragua, our second year of college. We were the three best friends. It only took Chris a year to begin dating Grant, so that next year's mission trip to Nicaragua, I was officially the third wheel. Grant, we were the three best friends. I feel like I needed to say that twice just to emphasize to you how much I enjoyed our friendship. We would go to Texas Roadhouse on the weekends, get fat bitches after we went out together on 6th Street, which is a sandwich comprised of French fries, fried pickles? I don't even know. No one knows. Anyway, apart from that, we went to summer country concerts together, and you never failed to bring donuts to our OChem study session, even though most of those study sessions you were probably teaching Chris and I OChem. It's fine. It was a great life. But no, you got greedy and had to have more, didn't you? You had to squeeze yourself into this family. Apart from that, I feel like I know you pretty well, but if I had to be sure of anything, in order to date my sister, you needed to have patience, know how to calm her down, and most importantly, accept the fact that I'll always be in her life and you can't really get rid of me. So with y'all getting married today, I'd say we're officially stuck together. And you're stuck with my craziness of a family, so sorry. And what's there to say about y'all's love that hasn't been already said tonight? Y'all's love is contagious. Never seen anyone make my sister laugh and smile so much as you do. I've also never met anyone who has been able to calm her down when I'm not there, as you do. Tonight, you both made one of the greatest decisions of your lives, and that was saying I do to each other and agreeing to love each other for the rest of your life. In preparing for my own marriage, I've been reading a book called The Meaning of Marriage, and there's a highlight that I'd like to point out for you tonight. There's a quote that says, "In any relationship, there will be frightening spells in which your feelings of love dry up. And when that happens, you must remember that the essence of marriage is that it is a covenant, a commitment, a promise of future love. So what do? You do the acts of love, despite your lack of feeling. You may not feel tender, sympathetic, and eager to please, but in your actions, you must be tender, be understanding, and be forgiving and helpful. And if you do that, as time goes on, you will not only get through the dry spells, but they will become less frequent and deep, and you will become more constant in your feelings." So if everyone could raise their glass for Chris and Grant, I pray that your journey as husband and wife is filled with so many happy and loving memories. It's not always going to be easy, but you have each other, your family, and Christ to lean on. So here's to Mr. and Mrs. Tippett. Woo!
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach. I'm Grant's best man. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here in front of all of you tonight. I hope to take you through a quick glimpse of both mine and Grant's friendship, and then Kiersten's and mine friendship as well. They're a little different, but I hope you enjoy the ride. So I first met Grant when I was a freshman in high school, and I was new to a big city, and I was lucky enough that Grant and I shared a mutual love of basketball together. And over the next couple of years, Grant and I would become really good friends. We tore it up on the court. We studied for tests together in the hallway before class. And we also might have thrown a party at my parents' house my senior year of high school that they didn't know about. So cheers to you, Mom and Dad, for that. And surprisingly, we turned out okay. So Grant and I realized we were both destined for UT together. And we said, well, hell, we might as well live together. So we did, and those couple of years were truly the best years of my life. Through our fake IDs and a couple of late nights on 6th Street, and maybe despite a couple of broken bones and trips to the emergency department, we really had a great time. And then we met KB. By the way, I said that, you might think the fun would stop then, but it actually didn't. It got a lot better. Life got better. We had more fun when KB came into our lives, and I say our because Grant was my best friend at the time and still is. But anyway, so I realized recently how lucky I am to have gotten a front row seat, and I'm sure Sid would say the same thing of Grant and Kiersten's relationship first as friends, and then turned relationship, turned into a love, turned engagement, and now here we are getting married tonight. Which really blows my mind, but it's been something truly special to watch over these past 7-8 years. I'm grateful that, Grant, that you've found your love of your life, and Kiersten, you the same. Kiersten, I met you when I was a freshman in college, and that was actually before Grant met Kiersten, and we were in a small class in college, and I knew that I had met someone special, but if you were to tell me that I had met my best friend's future wife, I probably would tell you that you're crazy. So anyway, cheers to that. More on that later, though. So anyway, Grant and I decided that we were both destined for grad school in San Antonio. During that year, our first year of grad school, Grant and Kiersten did a pseudo long-distance relationship where Grant was in his first year of dental school and Kiersten her second year of pharmacy school in Austin. And I remember having a conversation with Grant's mom about, what are the chances that these two lovebirds stay together? And we both agreed that chances were pretty high. And if they did stay together, which we thought was likely to happen, they were probably going to get married. And I didn't really realize, what that meant until one night I walked into Grant's room. We were both studying late at night one night, as good first-year graduate students do, and I offered him some popcorn or some brownies or something, and I knocked on his door, and I walked in, and there was Kiersten propped up on FaceTime. Sorry for the cheesy story here, but I think it means a lot. And they weren't doing anything special. They were just sitting in each other's presence and studying together. And I walked out, and I said, Grant's probably found the love of his life forever. And that's when I knew that our prediction had come true, and Grant was going to live with Kiersten forever. I ended up living with Grant for 7 years. And I got to know him very well over those 7 years, and I know that if anybody can live with this guy, Kiersten, it's you. Not to knock on you, Grant, but Kiersten, you're caring, you're kind, you're smart, you're funny, you're beautiful. And anybody who knows you well, I think, knows that these words don't really do you justice. I realized recently that, Grant's been my best friend for about 12 years, and you can't really have more than one best friend, kind of. So when I realized, I don't like to think I'm giving my best friend away, but if I'm giving him away to anybody, Kiersten, it'd be you. So I'll just settle for best man instead. I'll end this speech, although kind of brief, with a story that I heard recently at somebody else's wedding. I know it's kind of cheating, but the words are pretty profound. So the story goes, there's a famous female athlete, and she had just accomplished an incredible feat. And at the end of her accomplishment, an interviewer walked up, and the interviewer asked, "Is today the best day of your life?" And she responds with, "I hope not. I hope today's not the best day of my life." So my wish for you today is that even though, Grant, I said earlier that cheers to you, hope that today is the best day of your life, I hope it's not the best day of your life. I hope tomorrow's a little bit sweeter, and every day after it gets a little bit sweeter. And maybe, hopefully one day far in the future when you're both old and wrinkly, sitting on a back porch somewhere, I hope that's truly the best day of your life. And just know that I love you both tremendously. I'd do anything for you. And I love you a lot. So, cheers to the newlywed couple. Thank you. Thank you. Love you.